In the sky above the boundless ocean on primitive planet 08625, the Blood Cloud Temple Master, who was clad in a blood-red battle robe, a blood-red mask and a golden horn, was flying through the sky. Meanwhile, his earth deity was handling the spoils of war within his world ring. Within the world ring, dressed in black armor and with a single horn on his forehead, Luo Feng stood on the vast land. Before him was a pair of huge god hammers, an ancient top-level armor and a green seed-like treasure, along with a world ring. Break. Luo Feng looked at the treasures in the world ring, immediately sending 5 threads of god energy, 2 of which pierced into the god hammers, 2 into the armor and the green seed, the last into the world ring. Luo Feng couldn't be bothered to waste his energy on a world ring, forcefully destroying it. With a loud rumble, immediately large amounts of materials, treasures, etc. fell from the sky like a goddess scattering flowers. Immediately the surrounding land became a mountain range. This Deep Fire Leader too, the 10 treasures he collected all have life imprints on them. And those treasures, most of them have life imprints on them. Luo Feng shook his head. What? Immediately, waves of divine power were sent into the treasures and treasures one after another. The god energy continued to attack. As the saying goes, with enough effort, even an iron rod can be ground into a needle. To forcefully break the imprints, one had to rely on the god energy to attack and destroy. Finally it would completely collapse. One body, as an ancient being of the vast universe, the Blood Cloud Leader was roaming the Primal Planet. The other body was immersed in forcefully breaking the life imprints on the treasures and treasures. Awesome. Luo Feng felt the pain and happiness from within. Ever since he left Earth and entered the universe, he had been working hard and risking his life, constantly feeling the pressure, always feeling that he couldn't completely control his own fate, much less control and protect the fates of the people of Earth. Until now, Luo Feng finally had some confidence. In the entire universe, even though I'm not the strongest in the universe are all stronger than me. There are also many who are on par with me. Even with my star tower, I'm afraid I can only be on par with those peak masters of the universe. But at least, I'm already standing at the peak of this vast universe. Joy that came from the bottom of his heart. Wasn't stepping onto the path of the strong precisely to seek this great freedom? This confidence? This battle is just like what the Primal Chaos City Master teacher said. I am the universe master. Luo Feng continued to wear down the life seals with brute force, at the same time anticipating, I believe that after the internal discussion of the Great Alliance very soon, I will have the right to become a leader of the Great Alliance Palace. At that time, just as the creator of the giant axe promised, the day I can sit with them will be the day Earth is taken back. I've struggled for countless years. 180 million years. Soon. Luo Feng thought. Even though the other warriors all thought that Luo Feng had only trained for over 100,000 years, Luo Feng's personal experience was indeed over 180 million years. If one's willpower was not strong enough, the long passage of time was enough to cause them to collapse and decay. He forcefully broke the life imprint. Pooh. 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 The life seals within the treasures began to crumble one after another. After a while, the normal treasure's life seals too crumbled one after another. The only high-level treasure's life seal crumbled too. After a total of half an hour and a vast amount of god energy, the huge hammers and the top-grade armor were all broken. There's no longer anything here that belongs to the Deep Fire Emperor. Luo Feng used his god energy to carefully filter through the spoils from the Deep Fire Emperor. He had completely cleaned them all. Ah! Luo Feng's gaze landed on the mountain-like pile of materials. His god energy immediately locked onto one of them. A completely purple crystal pillar floated up. The entire pillar had engravings on it. It was slightly different from the others, and this engraving made Luo Feng even more certain. Suppression Valley? Luo Feng frowned and laughed. My luck isn't bad. During the opening of the Primal Planet, the Chi God Palace was one of the biggest treasures. However, there were many that were a level lower than it. Like the Sword River Luo that had already appeared was one of them. And some of the other treasure shrines had appeared but hadn't been opened yet. The Chi God Palace hadn't been opened yet, and Suppression Valley was another place with treasures. Even though it had appeared, it hadn't been opened yet. Luo Feng also knew about this information. Hence, with a single glance, he recognized that the crystal pillar was the token of the Suppression Valley. It was rumored that there were a total of 9 tokens. The moment all 9 tokens appear, the Suppression Valley will officially open. Those with the tokens would be able to enter Suppression Valley. Otherwise they wouldn't be able to enter. While the Earthling's true body was breaking the life imprint in the world ring and looking at the Suppression Valley's keepsake, the Blood Cloud Hall Master, who had already fled to another primitive planet, was already being chased madly. And at this time, the news of the Deep Fire Emperor's body being killed had already swiftly spread amongst the upper echelons of the various powers. The Deep Fire Emperor's Jiuhuo body was actually killed and his treasure stolen. The Deep Fire Emperor has already released news that the Blood Cloud Leader's strength is even stronger than 3 million eras ago. He's also changed to a new treasure and is using a long shuttle treasure. Even the Deep Fire Emperor can't handle it. I have to be careful. Without enough life preservation skills, I can't fight the Blood Cloud Leader alone. The Universe Lords moved in groups of 2s and 3s. Of course, there were those who chased the Blood Cloud Leader alone. Either they had a huge god body or extremely strong protective treasures. Or they had flying palace-type treasures. Or they were already at the pinnacle of the Universe Lord level. Anyway, only those with enough confidence would dare to move alone. Chase me? Luo Feng broke through space and flew, laughing loudly. Every primal planet has a total of 10,081 space whirlpools, allowing me to move as I please. Even if all the powers in the universe send out a few universe lords, how many universe lords are there in total? And without enough strength they can't even stop me. Using this famed battle plan, he revealed the identity of the Blood Cloud Leader. Firstly, to test the power of the ultimate treasure. Secondly, the appearance of the Blood Cloud Leader was enough to divert the attention of the three great alliances. After all, compared to the Blood Cloud Leader, the pursuit of Luo Feng was merely an internal struggle of the four great races. The Blood Cloud Leader was the true rage of the various powers of the universe. My goal has been achieved. It's time to return to the God Country. Luo Feng muttered within. What's going on? He flew irregularly, even getting close to the whirlpool pathway to the outside world. However, Luo Feng didn't leave. Because he understood, it was too easy to guess his path. There were probably warriors lying in ambush outside. When Luo Feng was thinking about how to leave the Primal Planet and return to the God Country, he arrived at a whirlpool pathway. He entered it without hesitation. Blood Cloud Leader, don't flee. Blood Cloud Leader, if you have the guts, fight me. The three universe lords chasing from behind could only watch unwillingly as Luo Feng fled to the next Primal Planet. Number 08605. Number 08605 Primal Planet. Luo Feng had just stepped into this vast universe when he saw the distant six silhouettes. The distance between them was actually less than 100 million kilometers. The leader was a distorted dark space. The other five majestic silhouettes had extraordinary energy too. Northern Border Alliance. Luo Feng recognized them with a glance. Blood Cloud Leader. The six silhouettes shouted almost simultaneously. Haha, Blood Cloud Leader, we were just preparing to head to the Primal Planet to kill you. I didn't expect you to come here and meet us. It's really our luck. Blood Cloud Leader, you didn't choose any other path, it just happened to coincide with ours. Your Primal Planet is constantly changing, we too are constantly changing our paths. Finally we've met. It wasn't easy for the six universe lords of the Northern Border Alliance either. Along the way they received news that the leader was heading to XX Primal Planet, and he was heading to XX Primal Planet. The changes were extremely fast. Naturally, the six universe lords of the Northern Border Alliance had to constantly change their paths. After all, they couldn't chase behind the leader, they would never catch up. They could only block ahead. However, this block required luck. Because there were many space whirlpools, nobody knew which one Luo Feng would go to. With just a slight change, the difference would be huge. Luo Feng couldn't be bothered with the voices of the six universe lords before him. Even though the other five were extremely strong and famous, they weren't much of a threat to Luo Feng with his star Pagoda. The one that truly caught his attention was the leader, the dark space being. Star River Leader? Luo Feng said. Blood Cloud Leader. The tall dark space resounded. You and I, this should be the first time we've met. I've chased after you twice in the past, but before I even saw you, you'd already slipped away. My luck this time is not bad, to actually meet you. Wah. Immediately, endless amounts of starlight enveloped the entire Primal Planet. Powerful bindings enveloped the entire area. It was a top-grade domain treasure. Since I've met you, don't try to escape. I heard from the Deep Fire Leader that you're very powerful. Hence, I really want to see, if you can survive from me, I guess you'll be able to escape with your life. I reckon you'll be able to escape from this encirclement plan. A tall voice rang out from the dark void. Luo Feng watched from afar, not daring to be careless. Because Star River Leader's name was out there in terms of strength, position and fame, he didn't lose to his teacher, the Primal Chaos City Leader. He was definitely at the very pinnacle of the universe lords. Even the strongest warrior in the universe couldn't do anything to the Star River Leader. It was all these that made him so powerful. However, this way, I can truly see the difference between me and the pinnacle of the universe lords. Luo Feng's fighting spirit burned within. He stared at the distant six silhouettes in the dark space. The other five universe lords, Luo Feng had already completely ignored them, he only stared at the Star River Emperor. You actually didn't flee. The dark space resounded. You didn't flee either? Luo Feng stared at his opponent. Ha ha. The dark space resounded with a heaven-shaking laughter. Interesting, Blood Cloud Leader, you are indeed worthy of the fact that almost every power in the universe wants to kill you. At least, you have guts and are very arrogant. If you want to fight, then fight. Don't waste words, my time is precious. Luo Feng shouted, his eyes gleaming visibly. Since he was replacing his teacher to inherit the position of Blood Cloud Leader, naturally he had to perform well. The Blood Cloud Leader was a person who didn't fear anyone in the universe, evil, arrogant and crazy being. Indeed worthy of being the Blood Cloud Leader. An arm-shaped void suddenly stretched out from the dark void, and a square-shaped mace treasure weapon abruptly appeared in its hand. At the same time, another void arm stretched out, and a mace weapon appeared in its hand at the same time. These two long maces were bronze in color, and there was a touch of gold on the edges. These two treasures of mine are called Kuan-Yi, they are the absolute treasures of the pinnacle. The Star River Emperor said. The absolute treasures of the pinnacle? Luo Feng understood even within the same level of treasures, there was a difference in quality. The treasures used by the Star River Emperor could be considered second only to the absolute treasures, similar to the two-faced ancestor god's mace weapon. Just from the treasures used, one could see his status and strength. The other 5 universe lords spread out in all directions, watching from afar. They didn't make a sound or join in. They believed in the Star River Emperor's strength. Receive 3 moves from me, receive them and I won't stop you. The first move. The moment the Star River Emperor's voice resounded, he immediately moved. While they were conversing earlier, the North Border Alliance had already closed in to a distance of 10 million kilometers. At this time the Star River Emperor moved. A black blur immediately swept through the sky, pressing towards Luo Feng. Come. Luo Feng wielded the Star Pagoda shuttle and with a step, he too became a beam of light and rushed over. Blood light. Luo Feng first expanded his god body to over 10,000 kilometers, following which he unleashed his strongest move, burning his god energy and rushing into the shuttle in his hand. Wah, the 10,000 kilometers long shuttle was terrifyingly powerful. As it pierced forward, it created a twisting whirlpool, shredding the surrounding space. It was so powerful that even the 5 universe masters in the distance paled. The master of the galaxy's twin maces were like a bolt of lightning. Crackle. 2 streams of black flowing light shot out and struck the Star Pagoda's shuttle at the same time. The strong energies clashed, causing the 2 god truncheons wielding darkness void to immediately fly backwards. Even Luo Feng was forced to retreat a few steps. This is the first move, screen. In the distant dark void, a pair of divine truncheons appeared, emanating an oppressive might. I've underestimated you. Just this ultimate secret technique of the Universe Lord is clearly not enough to suppress you. Instead, you put me at a disadvantage. Just this move alone is enough for you to be ranked amongst the peak Universe Lords. Now take my second attack. This is the strongest secret art of a Universe Lord that I've created. The voice drilled into Luo Feng's mind. The Star River Master moved again. Without a sound, the black silhouette pounced at Luo Feng. Rumble. With the twin maces raised, the surrounding land and skies immediately turned dark, forming a dark world. Miniature universe? Luo Feng was shocked within. It was very similar to the miniature universe, however there were still some differences. Rumble. Carrying with it the endless power of the dark world, the twin maces were like 2 worlds that smashed at Luo Feng. Break. Luo Feng gritted his teeth and roared as he received the attack. The Star Pagoda's shuttle in his hand pierced forward fiercely, infusing the beast god path within. Luo Feng felt his entire body tremble as the strong force struck the armor. However, after being weakened by the armor, it was no longer a threat. However, the force still caused Luo Feng to fall downwards. When he reached the ground, Luo Feng stopped. This is the first Ultimate Universe Lord technique I created back then. Dark Night. Star River Master said. Looks like the long shuttle in your hand is at least an ultimate treasure. Otherwise, you wouldn't just be at a disadvantage. Luo Feng gazed at the distant dark space. Ultimate treasure? What a joke. Normal ultimate treasures, there were many within the races. Like the pinnacle of domain treasures, pinnacle of soul treasures, there were many at this level. And the ultimate treasures, that was a level that was completely above them. That was absolute dominance. His god body was weak, his techniques were weak, but with the huge advantage of the Star Pagoda's shuttle over the other 2 ultimate treasures, he was only at a slight disadvantage. His first move was the Universe Lord's ultimate technique, the second was the Universe Lord's strongest, then what about the third? Luo Feng was curious. Could it be there was a stronger one? That wasn't right. The Universe Lord's strongest technique should be the Star River Master's strongest ability. You have the right to receive my third move, my strongest move. Star River Master said. In the distance, the 5 Universe Lords held their breaths. Look, the ultimate move of the Star River Master. I can see it again. Last time, the Master of the Galaxy used this move to kill a Lord of the Universe in the Cosmic Sea, and 2 Lords of the Universe fled in fright. The 5 of them communicated with each other in anticipation. After all, this ultimate move was something the Star River Master wouldn't use unless it was a critical moment. It was the same stance. When the Star River Master's truncheons rose, the surrounding primal star once again descended into darkness. The endless darkness emanated thick darkness energy, following which a completely opposite energy appeared on his truncheons. Glaring truncheons. The truncheons were a glaring white, incomparably glaring. Even brighter than over 10,000 stars. One black, one white. Hua. The truncheons immediately became a blur. An incomparably glaring river pierced through the darkness. The glaring river flowed. It seemed slow, yet it had already reached before Luo Feng. Rumble, the seemingly slow glowing river made Luo Feng feel like he was facing a raging tsunami. Luo Feng even felt a sense of despair when he faced it. He forcefully expelled the negative emotions. This wasn't a soul attack, but a perfect attack that made one feel a sense of awe and despair. Of course Luo Feng's willpower was extremely strong. He immediately expelled the negative emotions and grasped the truncheon tightly, thrusting out again. Rumble. One thrust, heaven and earth shook. Rumble, rumble. The glowing river madly clashed against the truncheon. The huge truncheon, however, pierced out resolutely, blocking the attack. The truncheon was as stable as empty tie. However, Luo Feng, who was wielding the long shuttle, was weakened by the Tribulation Armor to 1/100,000 TH of the impact. Even so, every bit of his god energy was still trembling. The explosive impact caused Luo Feng to fly backwards, almost as though he was savagely smashed away, only stabilizing himself in midair far away. Everything dissipated. The primal star was still calm, everything was calm. I actually lost 2/1000 of my god body? LuoFeng's heart was in turmoil. He was truly shocked. He had used the Star Pagoda's truncheon to block this attack, and then used the Tribulation Armor to block it, yet he still lost 2/1000 of his god body. If he didn't have the Star Pagoda to block it, and used the Blood Shadow Blade to block it, the attack would probably be 2 levels higher. One move to destroy 50% of his god body? He was shocked. What he didn't know was that the Star River Emperor was even more shocked. What? The Master of the Galaxy, who had been calm all this while, was truly shocked. He now stood at the apex of the Masters of the Universe. The strongest secret techniques of the Masters of the Universe. He had first created the 2 strongest secret techniques, then spent an endless amount of effort and honed himself in the Cosmic Sea to finally fuse the 2 strongest secret techniques into a single move. It seemed simple, but in reality, it was extremely difficult to unleash the 2 strongest secret techniques at the same time and gather their power into a single move. This move. It allowed him to truly shake the universe, giving him the ability to not fear the strongest in the universe. He had always thought that among the universe lords, even though there were a few absolute monsters that could match up to him, none could surpass him. This move of mine expended a huge amount of god energy, yet his god body didn't seem to suffer much? Star River Emperor was shocked. However, he didn't know. Luo Feng had the absolute treasure Star Pagoda, and the pinnacle treasure Calamity Armor, 2 layers of defense. If he knew he lost to an absolute treasure, the Star River Emperor would be relieved. However, he didn't know that the Blood Cloud Palace leader was wielding an absolute treasure. This move, what's it called? The distant Blood Cloud Palace leader spoke. Dark Night River. Star River Emperor spoke. Powerful, very powerful, respect. The Blood Cloud Palace leader spoke. Luo Feng was truly impressed. He had received 3 attacks. The second was called Dark Night. Luo Feng naturally could clearly see. The so-called Dark Night River was the fusion of Dark Night and Dark Night River. Moreover, the power was completely gathered together, forming an incomparably terrifying attack. Luo Feng himself, the only technique he knew, I am the universe, was a gift from the universe. He hadn't created a single one. And the opponent had created a few and could even fuse them. Indeed, the Star River Emperor. Luo Feng exclaimed within. Blocking my ultimate move, even the injuries are light, you can leave, said the Lord of the Galaxy. At the same time, he put away the endless river of stars, turned into a stream of light and flew away. Star River Emperor. The other 5 universe lords shouted, following which they shook their heads helplessly, looking unwillingly at Luo Feng, but they could only follow the Star River Emperor and swiftly leave. The 5 of them were very clear. To be able to block the legendary ultimate move of the Star River Emperor, this Blood Cloud Palace leader might not be much stronger than them, but even if they fought with all their might, they wouldn't be able to injure him much. Since the Star River Emperor had left, they might as well leave too. Star River Emperor. Luo Feng muttered. He had finally seen the pinnacle of the universe lords. So, he immediately became a beam of light and swiftly vanished into the distance. The universe lords of the various powers of the universe were still rushing around the primeval planets, painstakingly searching for traces of the Blood Cloud Hall Master. However, a piece of news suddenly came. The Star River Master of the Northern Border Alliance and the Blood Cloud Hall Master were engaged in a head-on battle. The Blood Cloud Hall Master was only lightly injured by the Star River Master's all-out attack, and his aura did not change at all. After that, the Star River Master voluntarily gave up and left. Impossible. The Star Lord is going all out? I might be able to take on an all-out Master of the Galaxy, but I would still be heavily injured. That Blood Cloud Hall Master's aura didn't change at all? How could he be so powerful? Is the Blood Cloud Hall Master hiding in the Blood Cloud Hall and using the Blood Cloud Hall to block this move? What? No. He blocked the Master of the Galaxy's ultimate move in a head-on battle? The Masters of the Universe who were searching the primordial planets were completely shocked. They could not believe what they had heard and they tried to get to the bottom of everything. The more they asked, the more they understood about the battle and the more despair they felt. The Master of the Galaxy had used his best treasure and his most heaven-defying ultimate move. The Blood Cloud Hall Master took it head-on and his injuries were negligible? Powerless. Every universe lord felt a sense of helplessness. Even existences like God Lord Beaconfire were confident that they were on par with the Star River Lord. But he didn't dare say he could surpass the Master of the Galaxy. Let's go. Let's go back. He left just like that? So what if I don't leave? If even the Master of the Galaxy couldn't do anything to him, then no Master of the Universe could do anything to the Blood Cloud Hall Master. Even the strongest being in the universe was only slightly stronger than the Master of the Galaxy. In the primeval universe, the power of the universe's strongest expert was greatly restricted. Even the Master of the Galaxy was unable to injure the Blood Cloud Hall Master, so what could the universe's strongest expert do? Heavily injure the Blood Cloud Hall Master? One by one, the Masters of the universe gave up. After all, they felt helpless in this pursuit. Unexpectedly, the Blood Cloud Hall Master has become so powerful. Although the Blood Cloud Hall Master was powerful back then, he wasn't this powerful. Even the Blood Cloud Hall Master would flee at the sight of an existence like the Starry River Lord. They wouldn't even dare to resist. Now that I've become stronger, it'll be even harder to kill him. Some of the universe lords took the initiative to leave. That was how the universe worked. Strength decides one's fate. No matter how crazy, wanton, or evil one was, if one could become the strongest expert in the universe, then the major powers wouldn't dare to provoke them. Instead they would try to curry favor with them. Like Mountain Guest, Demon God Void, and the other strongest experts of the solitary universe, they had strange tempers and would kill whenever they wanted to. However, none of the forces dared to kill them. They didn't even dare to do so. What? Not to mention becoming the strongest in the universe. As long as one reached the level of the Lord of the Galaxy, it would be enough for them to be invited and worshipped by the major forces. Obviously, the fact that the Blood Cloud Hall Master was able to withstand the Master of the Galaxy's most powerful attack without sustaining much damage meant that he was almost at that level. Don't provoke that madman again. Don't provoke him. He can't be killed and he's good at escaping. He also has no worries. The only way to suppress and seal him forever is to pay a great price. But no power is willing to pay such a price. After all, the Blood Cloud Hall Master is just an individual. He doesn't involve the survival of the major forces. This battle would determine their positions. Back then, the Blood Cloud Hall Master had gone from being wanted by the major forces of the universe to someone they couldn't be bothered to provoke. It wasn't that the major forces didn't want to recruit him, it was just that from history, trying to recruit him would result in him attacking and killing him. This was a madman. Luo Feng originally planned to circle around the Primal Star for a few more days. However, he didn't expect the Universe Lords to leave one by one. The search had obviously decreased. Naturally, Luo Feng quietly left the Primal Star and headed to the outside world. Luo Feng's God Country. Rumble, the ocean had 3 chi waves even though there was no wind. And the endless dark ocean that was tens of billions of km wide had shockingly huge waves. Like thunder rumbling, it surged and surged. In the air above the endless dark ocean, in the center of the God Country, within the majestic shrine, Luo Feng stood before the shrine and gazed down at the endless God Country. I'm back. It's over. Luo Feng smiled, feeling relaxed like never before. Thinking back to the series of events that made him famous, the main reason was because of the Void Demon God coming to kill him. When he went to kill Tianhua Knight, he didn't expect him to hide in a flying palace-type treasure. Hence a huge wave arose. Killing over 800 Universe Lords, battling Universe Lords, unleashing his miniature universe to kill over 6,000 of them, his name spread throughout the universe, shocking everyone. The moment the Blood Cloud Palace leader appeared, it caused a huge wave, completely diverting everyone's attention. My goal has been achieved. I'm on par with the Banfu leader, and I've unleashed my strongest techniques. He's completely a Universe Lord, and an extremely hard to deal with Universe Lord. Luo Feng thought. His only weakness was, he couldn't control the space around him. This point might be suspected by other warriors. However, so what if they suspected? Being able to unleash the Golden Light and Miniature Universe had already allowed Luo Feng to unleash an absolute Universe Lord's battle strength. From the perspective of the major powers of the universe, Luo Feng was already a clear Universe Lord's battle strength. Moreover, he had a few clones he was extremely hard to deal with. However, the Star River Lord is really strong. Luo Feng sighed. Even with the armor without the Star Pagoda shuttle to block, I'm afraid one move would destroy 50% of my god body. The Star Pagoda shuttle would first block. After that, with the armor weakening, it would still destroy 20% of his god body. If it was just the Blood Shadow Blade, losing 50% of his god body was very normal. 1 or 2 moves would probably be enough to kill him. Unless he was fully equipped. Compared to the pinnacle of Universe Lords, my god body is a little weaker. And my attack weapon is too weak. Luo Feng frowned. Against the Universe Lords, just the Blood Shadow Blade doesn't seem enough. Deep Fire Emperor, one of his clones, used a pair of top-level treasures, the hammers. Their power could be stacked. And the Deep Fire Emperor's position in the universe wasn't that high. Like the Flame Emperor, he used the Flame God Halberd, which was also an absolute treasure. It was on the same level as Luo Feng's armor. The Primal Chaos City Leader had 3 great clones, the strongest naturally fought in the Universe C. Even in the actual universe, he wore the 1000 treasure armor and wielded a gem rod. The 1000 treasure armor was merely a domain treasure, on the same level as the Galaxy Lord's domain treasure, a battle treasure. Even though Luo Feng hadn't seen his teacher use it, the two were probably not too far apart. My battle weapon is a little lacking. Didn't teacher say that if I killed 10 of the Universe Lords or 1 Universe Lord, he would create an absolute treasure for me? Luo Feng thought, for example, to create an absolute treasure, like the Flame God Halberd, that's enough. He didn't have to ask for an absolute treasure. After all, the absolute treasures of the attack category were extremely valuable too. Luo Feng flipped his hand and took out a green stone tag. Teacher. Luo Feng's consciousness entered the green tablet and transmitted the message. This tablet was a normal treasure made by the Mountain Guest for transmitting messages. This made Luo Feng respect Mountain Guest. The Blood Cloud Pearl was a disguised treasure. The green stone tag was used to send messages. The armor and Star Pagoda were all extremely demanding on the owner. Anyway, when Mountain Guest made a move, it was very different from the normal treasures of the universe. Haha, disciple, I already know everything you've done in the Primal Star. However, why did you clash head-on with the Galaxy Lord? That clash, didn't you scare the other powers? In the future, it'll be hard for them to group up and kill you. A message quickly transmitted over. Luo Feng was speechless. So it was like that. No wonder back then when his teacher met with the Galaxy Lord, he immediately fled and didn't fight at all. With his teacher's strength as the universe's strongest, even if it was just a clone, he could definitely take on the Galaxy Lord. I didn't expect that and I couldn't even flee back then, LuoFeng said. Right, your fleeing abilities aren't enough. In terms of fleeing abilities, the Blood Cloud Palace leader back then was disguised as Mountain Guest. Naturally his fleeing abilities were extremely strong. What's the matter? Mountain Guest asked. Teacher, I killed the Deep Fire Emperor's clone, that counts as killing a Universe Lord, right? LuoFeng said. My disciple, your thoughts are too fantastical. Mountain Guest said. Looks like it wasn't something good. Of course it doesn't count. Mountain Guest said. However, killing a Universe Lord's clone and a true Universe Lord, the difficulty should be the same. LuoFeng refuted. Of course it's not the same. Mountain Guest said, the Blood Cloud Palace leader is infamous. If he didn't have a clone, he wouldn't dare to fight you alone unless he had a certain level of confidence. And those with clones, even if they were weaker, would still dare to take the risk. You say, if that Deep Fire Emperor didn't have a clone, would he dare to fight you alone? Right. The many Universe Lords that chased after him all moved in groups of 2 or 3, and those that moved alone all had something to rely on. No one is stupid to kill a Universe Lord. It's not as easy as you think. With a clone he would occasionally take the risk and give you a chance. Mountain Guest laughed loudly. To get teacher to make you a treasure for free, it's not that simple. LuoFeng curled his lips. Helpless. Teacher, I killed the Deep Fire Emperor's clone and acquired some treasures. However, there's nowhere to exchange them. If I were to give them to the race, wouldn't that reveal my identity? LuoFeng was worried about this too. The treasures the Blood Cloud Palace leader stole were stolen. Many of them were very famous, they could be quickly identified. Hence, selling them was very troublesome. Right. Then leave it to me, come to me to exchange for treasures. Mountain Guest said, these are the universe coordinates to where I live. You can head over directly. A string of coordinates was transmitted over. LuoFeng was filled with anticipation. Mountain Guest had been his teacher for so long, yet he hadn't been to his base yet. Yes, your disciple will rush over as fast as possible. LuoFeng didn't care much, swiftly organizing the treasures and leaving the God Country, heading towards the Mountain Guest's base.